Mercedes for My 600-Pound Life, Season 7, Episode 18 that premiered in 2019. This is part 1 of her first episode. She's currently single. She's living in Ohio with her 2 children. They live in a small 1-bedroom apartment and they all have to sleep in the same bed because it is so compact. She does have a caretaker that will come by and help clean her and everything like that, but she also has a couple of friends, a couple of family members that will come by and bring her food, cook for her, or bring her fast food, whatever she asks for. She said growing up, everything was great until she was around the age of 6. Her parents split because her father had become very abusive, so her mother wasn't around very much. So the kids were kind of left to fend for themselves, and by the age of 9, she was 100 pounds. When she was around the age of 9, her father did come back into the children's lives. There's 7 of them in total, and at that time, he did start to essay her and her sisters. And she said that she really felt like robbed of her childhood and her innocence, and it made her feel dirty, and that led to her eating to cope more. At the age of 13, she was 200 pounds, and that's around the time when her father stopped doing this to her. By 15, she was 300 pounds, and by 16, she was 400 pounds. She dropped out of high school, but she would go back to get her nursing license, and at 19, she became a nurse. Around 25, she was 450 pounds. She had to leave her nursing job because it was too physically demanding, and so she started working at a library. She became pregnant with her first child, and when she had her C-section, she contracted MRSA from that, and that led to her being bedbound for more than a year and a half. At 30, she was around 550 pounds. She met her friend Terry. They were together, but he ended up cheating on her. So they broke up, but she was pregnant. She had another C-section. She got MRSA again, and then she was in the hospital with that for an extended period of time. Around 35 years old, she was 650 pounds. Her father reached out to her because the dialysis was no longer working, his kidneys were failing, and he was going to pass soon. He asked her for her forgiveness, and she did give her forgiveness before he passed, but she was not able to physically go and see him. Month 1 starts off really rough. Her building in Ohio is condemned because of some recent floods and weather and everything like that, so they have to move to another apartment. Month 2, Terry, which is the biological father of her youngest child, also her close friend, just has disappeared. He's no longer in the children's lives, not taking them to school, doing nothing. He was supposed to take her to Houston and be with them there, but he is just like fallen off the earth. So her cousin and cousin's girlfriend say, hey, we will take you down to Houston. We got you. They pack all up. It takes several days to get to Houston. It is a very difficult drive. And after more than 4 days and 1,000 miles, they finally arrive in Houston, Texas. She's weighed in at 773 pounds. Dr. Now says, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. I'm only eating like once a day and it's not till like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Dr. Now's like, I know you're lying. Stop with the lying. Be truthful. She finally opens up and is truthful. He gives her the plan, everything like that. And he says, you can easily lose 80 pounds per month, and that's your goal. About 2 weeks later, all of the tests Dr. Now ran come back, and he says that your health is very poor. I'm very worried about you. She's still trying to move to Houston, and her cousin Brandon, who took her to Houston the first time, says that he will move with her and so that she can get this weight loss surgery. It is month 6. Finally, they are heading back to Houston. They are moving to Houston. They are only like an hour into their journey, and the wheel on the trailer that is towing their car catches on fire, and then they have to like figure all that out, and so it takes especially long to get to Houston, Texas. After 5 days, they arrive at the apartment. It is like very tiny, and she's worried if she's even going to be able to move around, but they set everything up, and she starts her journey there in Houston. She goes in to see Dr. Now. She is 728 pounds, which is a 45-pound weight loss. Now remember, she was supposed to lose 80 pounds per month. She has not seen Dr. Now in 4 months, so she should have lost way more than that. She didn't even hit her 1-month goal. And he says if you would have stuck to it, you could have lost 220 pounds by now. A few weeks later, she says she's doing great, that she's really sticking to the program, she's moving a lot more. But the cousin and the girlfriend, they have to go out of town, and so she says, well, we just have to order food all the time. Month 7, she misses her appointment with Dr. Now. She is on her period, and she says that there are no products that will fit her or work for her, and so she has to miss the appointment. Month 8, she has 736 pounds, which is a recent weight gain of 8 pounds, which means in total that she has lost 37 pounds. The doctor now is like, what's going on? And she's like, well, it was the 1 week that he was gone, and obviously it wasn't just that 1 week. And so he's like, why didn't you have healthy food sent to you? And she's like, there's no healthy food in our area. And so he's like, are you in a no salad zone? And he says, I'm going to give you one more chance. I need you to start going to psychotherapy, lose 80 pounds this next month. And since you don't like to show up to your appointments when we schedule them for you, I will give you 3 months. You need to check in with us every 3 months, but lose 80 pounds in the first month and then 40 pounds every month after that. Lola comes to see her. They talk about her childhood and her upbringing and everything. And then she gives her kind of some homework to talk to her daughter and write her a letter about kind of, I'm sorry that I took your childhood away and then I forced you to take care of me. Month 12, she is 692 pounds, recent weight loss of 44 pounds, 81 in total. Dr. Now says that he is not happy that at this rate, if she keeps going like she's going, it will take her 6 to 7 years to get all the weight off, and she will not live through that. And so he says the only option we have is that you need to be admitted to the hospital, put on a controlled diet. This is our last chance to save your life, but you have kids, and I will give you a few days to get everything situated with them. Let's now talk about her Where Are They Now episode, season 8, episode 6, and it premiered in 2023. This is technically going into the second year of her journey. So she's been on the journey for a whole year. So this is month 2 after the first year, 14 months. She's been in the hospital for 2.5 months on a controlled diet. Her health and everything, Dr. Now says, is doing much better. When they first checked her in, she was 698 pounds. She is now 536 pounds, which is a recent weight loss of 162 pounds, 237 in total. He wants to do an endoscopy just to make sure like everything is going okay. Does that, doesn't really see anything to be alarmed of. A couple of hiatal hernias, but they'll address that during surgery. So he sends her home and he says, I will do weight loss surgery as long as all your tests still look good. And I need you to lose weight. Just lose any weight over the next month and I will approve you for weight loss surgery. So she is discharged from the hospital and she goes back to the apartment in Houston. It is month 3. We don't know what happened, but her cousin that was living there, cousin and the cousin's girlfriend, they were paying for the apartment, everything like that. They just moved out, took off, went back to Ohio. Not only is she really hurt by them just abandoning her, but also she cannot afford this apartment on her own. And because she lives in the salad-free zone, they order some nachos and some burgers, and they are just worried about what is going to happen with them. So she comes back to see Dr. Now. She is 613 pounds. She has gained 85 pounds in about a month since she was in the hospital, which is a total weight loss of 160 pounds. She lets Dr. Now everything that's going on, that she's going to get evicted. She doesn't know what to do about her kids. And so Dr. Now is like, I will help you out. We will figure things out, but you got to think of your kids first. They end up moving out of the apartment into a hotel. And then a few days later, she sends her kids home on a plane to live with her family back in Ohio while she gets her situation figured out. It is month 5. She's 619 pounds, a recent weight gain of 6 pounds, 154 pound loss total. She says she's really not happy with herself. She says she let herself down. She let her kids down. And Dr. Now says, I need you to go back to the therapist. We need to get all of this anxiety figured out because every time she's gone to Dr. Now and it hasn't gone well, she has cried. And Dr. Now is not comfortable with feelings, but she still has a lot to work out and she shouldn't be having this severe of a reaction. And so he says, go back to the therapist and lose 30 pounds the next month. This is around when March 2020 happens, and we all know what happened in March 2020. So the whole filming, production, everything shut down for a year, and then a little thing pops on the screen that says basically Mercedes never responded, they could not get a hold of her, and they have no idea what's going on with her. So what has she been up to since she was on the show? Her filming started in probably late 2018, through 2019, through 2020, and should have continued into 2021, but her journey officially ended on the show in March-ish of 2020. So there's not much known about what she's been up to for the last 5 years. I tried to look around and couldn't find much. Her Facebook's really not that active. There's a couple of posts here and there of just like some random different things. She like reposts things. And then there's a few times where like she'll say her own stuff, but it has nothing to do with her journey, with being on the show, where she's at in life. Her eldest child by now would probably have graduated high school, and her youngest would still be maybe a teenager by now. All I could really see is that she is still living in Ohio, so she was able to make it back from Houston to Ohio at some point. And all it really says is that she is a stay-at-home mom. At some point while she was on the show trying to get to Houston, there was a GoFundMe that didn't go very well, but it seems that a lot of people who are on the show do GoFundMes, especially because they are uprooted from where they live, where their whole support system is. And if you watch my last video, I let you guys know that they only make $1,500 off the show, an additional $1,000 if they do the shower scene, allegedly, and then are given a $2,500 relocation fee. And so she would have made around $5,500 to $6,500 off of the show, which isn't very much money. I did find the apartments that she was living in on the show that a lot of people have lived in those apartments. You'll know as soon as you see it, the brick with the blue shutters and then the apartment with the white painted brick fireplace, like everybody seems to live there. Right now on their website, they're advertising that their one bedroom is around $1,000 per month. I don't know what it was 5 years ago, but assuming it was a similar price, maybe a little bit less, the $6,500 with food, utilities, everything else wouldn't have gone very far. And so unfortunately, there's not very much that I know about her family, about how any of them are doing, but I just hope that everything is going okay. I hope that she continues with therapy and continues to work out all of things from her childhood, from everything else that's happened to her. And her children seem super, super sweet, and I hope that they are doing really well as well.